Hello, hello.
Oh, well, wasn't that just peachy? Oh, God, it has been a long week. Long week. Long couple of days. I about had a heat stroke like 6 times this weekend already.
Mm.
Whew, yeah, it's been hot, dude. It's hot. It's like 83.4 in here right now.
Yeah,
So
it's 77 and 65% humidity in here right now.
77.
Hey, that's only 2 degrees cooler than outside.
Mm. Well, it's actually about 15 degrees cooler than it is outside here, but still, it's
Yeah.
like 98 out there, I think. It ain't cool, that's for sure. But yeah, it's been a long week. Was out of the shop. It's actually only 85 right now. It's calmed down. It was 91, but was out of the shop for a week, and boy, did I get backed up. Like I backed up a lot. Somebody said my audio is low. It's the same settings it's always set at, so I don't know how that would be the case unless Steve cut me down in the software.
I
Steve
don't
probably
think I
cut me
played
down in the
that.
software.
I can just back up. Maybe that would help.
I can adjust it.
Well, I can bump mine down a little bit. That might
I
balance it out
can
for others.
adjust it.
But
I may have had a filter turned on the other day too.
so yeah, you were out of town most of the week, right?
Yep. How about that? That made me louder. I can't
Sounds
tell
like
because this, like I said, it's the same settings I always run.
yeah. Maybe it's just your energy's low.
Definitely, definitely. Uh, Batteries need to recharge. But yeah, I was in Orange Beach for the most of the week. Got back home Thursday afternoon and had some stuff I had to get done here. But I did manage to go fishing Friday, so that was fun. Mostly fun. It's hot, but it's fun. And then past 2 days, I just been grinding out here in the shop trying to get caught up. So staying busy, no doubt.
Yeah.
Apparently it's I don't know. Let me see if there's. There we go on that. That's 150. Ooh, Lord. I don't know. Audio's set exactly the same as it always is. I'm afraid to go messing with it. I'm afraid it's on somebody's end or something. So I'm on 3 here, which is what I usually run. Uh, it's actually at like way higher than 3. Yeah. So I don't know. Don't know. Oh Lord. But yeah, it's been long. It's been a long week, guys. So y'all gonna have to pull me through this because I'm tired. I'm tired. I did. Bill come over and help me, but we did the past 2 days. We did 35 of those big 40-ounce tumblers. I did those 4 stove covers and like 8 or 10 cutting boards, and even got some work done with the Jinmitsu over there. That they told me, hey, we want you to wait until like the 5th to start putting stuff out, and then while I'm out of town, they're like, hey, could you start releasing content? And I'm like, you told me to wait, but
Yeah.
now you're telling me you want me to. So I got back, started throwing up some shorts and trying to get everything put together. But hopefully with sometime this week I'll have the big video out. But I just got some teaser shorts out for the moment. But yeah,
Guys.
we had that conversation because we've had them
Mhm.
for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they were like, "Hey, wait until like August the 5th before you put anything out." And I
Yeah.
was in Orange Beach, and it was like before it even switched over to August, and they're like, "Hey, do you think you could go ahead and put some content out? We've got it on our website for sale." And I'm like, "You told us to wait."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I saw your posts on that. I mean, you got some out today. That's when I noticed them anyway, and I was like, didn't think we were supposed to because they haven't contacted me. I mean,
oh
it's
no.
right here, so they're just picking on you. they're just pushing. They're just pushing
Well,
black.
I don't know why it is, but let's see. I got this email on Tuesday, 7:30, that says Our 4040 Pro Max is launched. When will you update the video on YouTube? Will it be possible the beginning of August? We are having our 13th anniversary sale during August the 5th to the 18th. And I'm like, guys, I'm out of town. Y'all told me to wait till the 5th. But anyway,
Yeah.
it was fine. I got it. I got some stuff. I've been using it, so I mean, I had plenty of stuff that I was ready to go with it. I had it hid, but now I can actually leave it set up over there and not have to put it up every time I use it. But I do like it. I will say this: if anybody was thinking about getting into small CNC, the gripes that I had with the 4040 before, they have corrected those problems with the Z axis that they put on this one. And if you have, I also found that if you have the older machine, you can upgrade just the Z axis. Looking at their website, they actually sell just the Z axis part to where you can upgrade the 4040. So that'd be pretty cool.
Now, do you know, is the actual controller on the side, is that different than the one you had?
You talking about the controllers for
The
the
control
offline
box.
controller or the control box?
The control box on the side.
It
Because
looks like the one from the 4040, but I do know that the probe, I can't get the probe to work with it.
yeah.
And
So
I know I've
mean,
emailed them about it, and I guess you have too.
I'm curious because they have that controller port on the bottom, and then they came out with that wireless adapter that I put on my 6050, but they had stated that on the 4040 it needed a different main board. And so I emailed them about it and said, hey, does this natively work with the Pro Max or not? Because I prefer to run it that way. So that's I'm waiting to hear back from them on that. And yeah, the probe, unfortunately, is not working right. But
Yeah. No, I did this on the 4040 Pro Max, the CNC. This is actually a CNC file. Somebody was asking me what laser I used. It wasn't a laser. That was actually a CNC. Now, I will tell you the secret with acrylic, and I'll go ahead and let you know this one, Steve, if you start playing with acrylic. The little spindle or the router that comes with it, about 1.5, perfect. Like, it doesn't melt it. It just turns it into a powder. Looks nice. So yeah, this was done with the CNC. Because people are always asking me about, oh, all I wanted it for is engraving. I just want to be able to engrave clear acrylic, with a CO2. Well, there are other options, like for Christmas ornaments and stuff. And that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to get into this year is, stuff like this, like Christmas ornaments and so forth, but with a CNC rather than doing it with the laser, because I don't see as much of this smaller stuff with the CNCs, and especially with things like the Genmitsus and there's a lot of other brands, but I do like the Genmitsus with the the lead screws, and like the one now, since they've got near rails on the Z axis and everything. They fixed the complaints that I had with the 4040. And the probe is definitely not a game changer for me. I never really used it on the other one anyway. So it was more of one of those cool things.
well,
But
it's one of
I'm
those
sure
things that once you
they'll
start
get it fixed.
once you start using them, it's hard to go back, because it makes it
Yeah.
so much easier to set your Z. I mean, I've been using it on my 150 and the 6050, so it's hard to go back to that kind of get a piece
Yeah.
of paper out and slowly lower it down. So, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean you can't use it. It just probing
Yeah.
and setting your Z can take a little bit longer, but
I'm thinking it's got to be something, because I tried taking one of my probes and reversing the polarity on it, thinking that they had soldered something incorrectly on the plug, because at the time you hadn't put yours together,
mhm.
and that didn't fix it. So it's got to be something in the board, and it may be something they can fix with a firmware patch. I'm not sure, but I suspect it's something in the controller
Sure.
that's going to need to be retooled for that probe to work like it's supposed to, because it seems as if it's got like reverse polarity going on, to where when it's not touching, it thinks it's touching. So when it touches, it thinks it's not touching. So it's like backwards. But anyway, but other than that, I love the little machine though. I did go ahead and put me a 1/4 inch piece of MDF over top of it just to protect that That
Yeah,
base.
yeah. That's kind of my one complaint that I've found so far is the spoil board comes in two pieces and there's nothing supporting it in the middle. And so you can kind of just push down and there's nothing connecting the two. So I
Yeah.
think I'm just going to 3D print a little support piece there and just double side tape it right along the seam. And then, I mean, if everything's working right, it really shouldn't be too much of an issue. But anytime, I mean, that could anytime you're ramping in or whatnot, it's going to deflect
Could.
a little bit if it's right in the middle if it doesn't have that support. So I think that's the one add I'm going to do to this is just I'm going to 3D print up a rail that'll fill that gap. You know, basically the same as that bottom aluminum stretcher,
Yeah.
and run it just down that seam. As I mean, you really only need it a few inches in the middle, and that would be fine. But
Yeah. Well, I have a laser file if you want the spoil board. You can put it over on the A70 and knock out a 1/4 inch piece of MDF, and it was really fast. That's what I did.
uh, yeah, it's a square. I'll probably just run it on the table saw.
Chris says for the probe, did you try the $3 setting to fix it? No, I did not. I haven't really messed with the controller settings. It came with like the problem is when you plug the probe in, as soon as you plug the probe in, the red light comes on. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to play around with that, but they haven't replied back to my email yet. Steve may have his to where he can check it and see.
I actually do have it hooked up right now. I'm taking a look to see.
But it does act like it's like reverse polarity. So if it's set to normal open, and you could change it to like normal closed, that might fix it.
Yeah, I have to find the right one because yeah, $3 would invert the axis. We don't want that.
Mm-mm.
I'll oh wait, no. Number 6. That might be it. That's the probe.
What's it say it does?
Probe pin invert.
Now that might do it.
Give me a couple seconds. I'll get this hooked up and test it.
I was going to say, if that fixes it, that'd be nice because I have plenty of probes, even though I did chop the cord off of one of them and reverse it the other day. Because I was just thinking that it was a wiring problem. Because I use the same probe that I used with my 4040. Because I actually ordered extra ones when I had the 4040.
No, changing it from 1 to 0 didn't do it.
You see, I'm afraid to hit that probe button with it not triggering
Yeah.
the lights like it's supposed to, because I'm afraid it'll drive that probe through the darn spoil board. But yeah, like I said, maybe there's a problem with it somewhere, but I haven't played with it. I was waiting for them to email me back and see if they were aware of it or if there was something special that I needed. The software, I didn't see anything on there, which now I haven't really. When I got back, I was kind of in a hurry
Yeah.
to get it up and going. But let's see. The manual, I don't think it said anything in there about setting anything crazy with the probe.
Well, the manual also references Windows XP and Windows 7, so
Yeah.
it could use some updating.
Yeah. Let's see what it
But
says in here, see if it's got anything. Z probe setup. Yeah, it's got the command. And the picture of the probe is not even the same picture. It's not even the probe that comes with the machine. So that was a little conspicuous.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty sure that those portions of the manual were borrowed from
borrowed
another
from
one.
somewhere else.
So
But yeah. So I haven't, like I said, it wasn't something that I was dying to have. So I just got it working because I knew I could make it work without it. This machine, with it having that little knob, I actually prefer to be able to set the Z with the, because you can set that Z a lot easier. It's just simple. Now, like on my Shapeco, where you don't have that knob, you really
yeah.
have no choice. But with this one, you can turn that knob and it'll pull that thing up, and with a piece of paper, you can set to Z, or you can even just do it by eyeball. But but yeah, I haven't fooled with it. It's been running like a champ, other than the whole probing thing. And maybe there's a solution to it that I haven't found yet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
Still
they'll
doing
get
it.
back to us. Yeah,
It's still it's still reverse. It's still reverse probing.
yeah, is doing weird stuff. So yeah, I agree. I mean, they do make it easier with the knob on top to just kind of dial it in. It's always I mean I hate
Yeah.
manually moving steppers on a machine like that though. Um, so yeah, it's nice using a probe or having a having like a pendant or a game controller that you can dial in speed and do it.
Yeah. And I
But
may
this
look
is
into the
also
I may look into the controller settings tomorrow, see if I can figure something out. Because I thought mine just had maybe like I had a drop of solder got somewhere it wasn't supposed to. But until you told me yours was that same way, and I was like, okay, that's
mhm,
not a coincidence.
yeah.
So
Yep. So more testing to commence. I'll be doing more with this tomorrow. I just ran out of time today because like you were dealing with, I got some got a couple of last minute jobs of friends coming into town this week for an event and asked me if I could make a couple signs for their Airbnb, and I said sure, why not? But it also meant a nice glue up and all that, so it's kind of put me
yeah,
back on some stuff. But but yeah, it sounds like both of us this week will be getting a little bit out on the little Genmitsu desktop CNCs, at least latest version of the 4040. So
yeah. So far, I'm digging it. Ah, there you go. So I'll put the lights in it for y'all.
very nice.
Ooh, look at that. See, Bill didn't stick around long enough to see that one. But yeah, that's not a laser project. That's actually a CNC project, and you can kind of see. But yeah, worked out pretty cool. Uh, I liked it. It worked out. So there you have it. There you
Mm.
have it right there. So yeah, just took a little small the bits that came with it, those little blade bits that come with it. Yeah, and set that up. I did figure out though that it has a 4 millimeter. That the extra collet in there is you got an eighth of an inch and a 4 millimeter.
Mhm.
It's kind of an odd size. It won't work with none of my bits other than the ones that came with it. So,
Well,
but
you should pick up a 1/4 inch ER11 for that.
yeah, I gotta order a set. Uh, Gerard, it was a just a V bit. I think it said it was a 30-degree V bit is what it said on the pack, and it was one of the ones that came with the machine. Those bits are more or less just like a little blade bit, and it does okay. So
Is that what you engraved with that? Okay.
yeah, it took a while, but I didn't want to do two passes. I just set it up and let it run. I didn't want to do two passes, like do a clearing pass and then do a so and I didn't have a down cut bit for the 4040 that was that small. I did have the down cut genie, but the definition in the design was going to be lost. And so
Hmm.
instead of doing a clearing pass and a finish pass, I just said, whatever. I'm just going to put this engraving bit in there, let it run the whole thing, so I don't have no weird lines or nothing in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll
Now I
take a
did
little
run
while.
my speeds way too slow. I should have went much faster.
Well, it's one of those things you kind of start conservative and ramp up as you learn the machine
Yeah.
and the bits. So,
Well, I was afraid I'd start melting plastic. You know
yeah.
how acrylic can be a little finicky.
Yep. Yep. I actually that was one of the earlier things I was CNCing was some acrylic for some airplane parts, and man, that was a learning experience. So,
Yeah.
but John's got a question. What is your opinion of the Bambu P1S versus the A1? Um, and I don't have I haven't had any hands-on experience with the P1S. I have been playing around with the A1 Mini and the A1 the past few weeks, and did just launch my video on it yesterday, I think. And I'm very impressed with Bambu Labs as 3D printers. Um, the just the software and the setup and all of the calibration it does and kind of self monitoring takes a lot of the hassle and headache out of it. And that's pretty much true throughout the line. You just kind of get different features. Um, in looking at the specs on the website, and I was actually looking at the P1S for a while now. I mean, I was looking at the X1 Carbon, last year. Just didn't want to fork out the money for it. But when the A1 Mini came out and they had it, I think they still have it on sale for like 199. I thought, hey, I got to try it out. I'll try a Bamboo printer with that. Now, the big difference that I see between the A1, the standard size, and the P1S really is that um, you get it's an enclosed printer, um, and so it opens up more filament for you. The A1 typically is going to be your basic easy PLA, PETG, TPU type of filaments. Um, it can print ABS and PET and things like that, but they also say, well, you can do it, but they don't necessarily recommend that. That's where stepping into the P1S gives you, with that enclosure and just their control system and the heating elements and such, gives you that. Uh, it's more ideal for doing like ABS and PET and such. So, um, other than that, I mean, there are differences in the control system and such, but that's your big difference between them is it opens up uh, some some extra filaments. Not to say you can't do them with the A1. It's just that their recommendations, and I haven't tried any of it myself, but their recommendations are you can, but it's not really recommended on the open frame A1.
Yeah. What's up, Rich? How are you, sir? But yeah, I tell you, I have since getting the because I've had the X1 Carbon kind of in my cart for a while,
Hmm.
but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. And about the time I was getting ready to order it, I decided I wanted to buy a boat instead. Because at the time I was like, I could print what I was using, what I was printing with it. I was having good luck with the ender. Now it was a little more high maintenance, like trying to level the bed, trying to make sure you had good, bed adhesion and everything. It was the ender's a lot more high maintenance. But now that I've gotten the A1, oh my gosh, 3D
Hmm.
printing is not such a headache no more. I mean, it's like even if you just like when you first turned it on, just go ahead and run all the self tests and stuff while you're getting ready. If you want, I haven't had to run them except when I like changed something about the setup. When I took from going just with the machine flat to running the AMS up top, I reran everything just to make sure the added weight didn't cause some of the dynamics to change. But for the most part, I've ran it when I first set it up, when I moved it from one table to the other, and then when I put the AMS on it. Every time I've moved its physical location or added weight to it, I've ran the processes, and that thing is cranking out parts fast. And it does a really good job.
Hmm.
So I'm really impressed. I do want to be able to do ABS and some of the harder plastics, and I have talked to them about trying to get one of the P1Ss, if for no other reason, so that I could actually keep it in the shop. I feel like if it was enclosed to where dust wouldn't get in there, it would be a lot easier to keep it out here. But we're gonna see how that goes. But for right now, I'm loving the thing because making little small parts like I usually do. Like you said, the benchy. I did the benchy the other day. It took like 20 minutes, and it looked great. So, Really
Yeah.
impressed with it so far. And the price is really not that bad. Once you look at how much I spent on my ender trying to get it to do what this machine can do.
Yeah.
So
Yep. It it's the first one that I would feel pretty confident recommending to someone who has completely no idea what they're doing with them.
oh
And
yeah.
that's been some of the frustration is people they're like, yeah, I kind of wanted to get into 3D printing, but I was over at a friend's house and they were having to tinker this, that, and everything else, and so this one I feel
Yeah.
you could get going with it, and I tried to touch on that in my video is that you don't have to know 3D modeling, you don't have to spend time tinkering. You can get started with there's a lot of files out there you can just download and
Yeah.
use yourself. And I plan on doing I'm going to try to do some basic uh kind of how we'll walk through some basic designs. I mean, I need to print a little holder for the focus tool for my Lasermatic. um, that'll be a great video, just like here is a super simple thing, here's how we can draw it out in
Yeah.
Tinkercad, export it into the Bambu app, and then print it out. So um, that's where this becomes really nice. As a matter of fact, one of the things I need to print is now I've got this dust boot that'll fit on the 65 millimeter spindle that comes with this, but my shop vac doesn't fit onto this. This is an adapter I made for a different one that I 3D printed, but it's the wrong size. So I need to remodel this so that I can hook up my one of my shop vacs to this and be able to run that for dust collection on this. And that's the perfect case, use case for one of these in the workshop is, yeah, I could tape something on or make something out of wood. I mean, I've done that before. You could CNC route or you could laser cut things, stack them up, glue them together. But when I can just 3D print one off and have it fit just right, that's one of
Yeah.
the use cases for me. A lot of people just get them to be able to print out little tchotchkes and figurines and things like that too, and that's fine. And I think that's where the A1 Mini is nice, is that you can do a lot of that with that 180 millimeter build area, about 7 inches cubed. You can do a lot of that, and at a couple $100 plus shipping and some filament, you're not out a whole lot to do that.
Yeah, it's well, see, Kevin, that's where and and that's what a lot of folks think. I almost feel bad for my buddy who wanted to get my ender from me, but he said he wants to learn it, and it's a good one to learn with. But it's so much easier with the Bambus that you really don't have to learn. You don't have to understand how it works. You just have to understand how to run the tests, how to download the files, and how to send them to the machine. That's it. Like, it takes the guesswork out of it. Uh, I was having a hard time with bed adhesion on my ender, and I had upgraded the Sprite extruder. I had upgraded the springs. I recalibrated and releveled the bed every time I used it, and I would still occasionally have one of those prints to where you would think that first layer would be looking good. I come out here to the shop. 30 minutes later, I pull it up on the camera like a bird nest, and it's like, oh my gosh. So this thing came just in time. I'm really pleased with it so far. I'm actually shocked at how well it works, to be honest, because I've had that Ender. Because the Ender is a good machine. It has done me well. I mean, it printed a bunch of these little parts and stuff that I use, but it's just a lot less maintenance and a lot less headache with the Bambu now. So
Well, I put a little teaser at the early part of my video showing the old printer bot. That was the first 3D printer I ever purchased, and it was literally it was 1/8 inch or quarter inch. I think it was a mixture of quarter inch and 1/8 inch MDF laser cut with linear rods and linear bearings zip tied to it, and it was interesting. I mean, and this is like, gosh, probably close to 10 years ago now. And it was interesting, but I was actually able to find a couple of video clips and I dropped it in there, and it is just so slow. And the bed's just this ugly sheet of aluminum, and I had painter's tape on there and glue sticks, and yeah, it's a world of difference from that. But even like you mentioned, from my Creality Ender Pro, Ender 2 Pro, or some of the others that I've had the past few years, even from that, it's a world of difference. So a lot of fun with those. I know they're not for everybody, but it is. I mean, at this price point, for a couple $100 for that A1 Mini, it's hard to
I was
not
just gonna
have it
say,
in the shop for some of these just every
yeah,
adapters or toolkits or things like that. You know.
yeah. I mean, for the price of the Mini, even if you ain't doing nothing but making little small stuff, like this is some of the stuff I did on my Ender. Like this is matter of fact the same type of adapter you're talking about
Yeah.
for a CNC. And of course, I made these. I actually made this design and sold it to a company for their fire extinguishers, which I have one mounted right there. So I did those, and of course, the hinges that I did on my Ender were not quite as good as the ones that you did, because I have found that this machine does a lot better with the printing, like
Hmm.
movable objects. It does a lot better than that. But most of the stuff that I make is like these little brackets, like that, and you know, cable management clips like these guys. So I am very pleased with the results that I'm getting out of the new one, for sure. Uh, I haven't got to print any big hose adapters, but that was my one argument with the Ender, was to print a hose adapter like this, even one this small. You're looking at an hour or two to do it. So I need to go back and print some bigger stuff and just see. But I know I printed like the bed panel holder and some other parts for the machine, and those were 2 or 3 hour burn prints, but they were massive. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, normal size stuff, how fast it'll do it.
Well, the longest thing I've run on the A1, using up most of the bed, was that square piece of plastic chainmail, and that took almost 8 hours to print out. But it's a
Yeah.
lot of small little repetitive things throughout it. But that came out perfect. So there weren't any
Yeah.
little stringies or anything.
Mark said he had a spaghetti and got caught and stopped it. And that's another good thing if it has that software built in there, because that is frustrating when you come in there and it look a bird nest is built underneath it, because it does create a headache trying to clean all that out and so forth.
Hmm.
Not to mention just wasting time and materials.
Yep.
Well, how are you, Greg? STL Woodworking. Whew. Mark's got a question. Said, did you have to use Mylar film on your old printer?
Uh, and then he clarified Captain tape. Yeah, I had to try multiple things to try to get it to work. Different types of painter's tape, different you know, um, uh, glue stick type things, spray adhesive, things like that. Yeah, that was the adventure, is getting that first layer to stick, and then hoping that you don't wake up to a mess of spaghetti that's probably clogged up your nozzle, and now you got to take everything apart and try to unclog it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having all the monitoring and a lot of the automation on this. I mean, the printer even will monitor kind of the resonance of the motors, and they'll recommend like, hey, you might need to tighten your belts at this point.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Uh,
smart.
Brent, I did a few shorts, but I was in the process of getting ready to go out of town, and I've had a bunch of stuff going on. So I haven't really done any in-depth videos with it yet. I wanted to get a little bit of time under my belt with it as well. But I plan on getting some videos out soon, but there's not any out there yet. And Greg, no, I got an email from Sane Smart. When was it? Was it yesterday or today? Anyway, Sane Smart sent me an email talking about they're going to be at the IWC or whatever, and wanted me to come over, or IWF, and wanted me to come over and like hang out at their booth. And I'm like, guys, that's like 2 days from now. So yeah, there it is. Uh, yeah, yeah, I got the email Saturday on the 3rd, wanting to know if I would come over and like be there. And I'm like, seriously? I mean, you might want to give me a little heads up. I got the email on the 3rd, and the event's the 6th to the 9th. So, yeah, I was like, y'all a little behind on the 8 ball on that one. But no, I wasn't planning. I wasn't planning on being there anyway. But had SaneSmart reached out a little earlier and mentioned something, yeah, we might could have worked something out. But they waited until the very last moment.
Does this mean I get to call you the Sane Smart Golden Child?
Hey, if they want to feed me to go hang out at their booth and point out their stuff,
Feed you? I'd be telling them like, hey, if you provide me a hotel room, sure.
well, Creality did that. Was it last year? Creality was going to put me up somewhere, but it was like in New Jersey or New York. I was like, no, I'm good.
Hmm.
But they didn't. They were just asking, and I was like, no, it's too late. I can't even manipulate my schedule to get over there, especially after, just getting back from being gone for a week.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way because I'm already slammed. So I'm going to be using this week trying to get caught up to where I can get back to doing some cool stuff. So, but yeah. But I just thought that was kind of, a little inconsiderate of them to wait till the last minute. The only thing I could figure is maybe they had invited somebody else and they bailed. so
who knows? Yeah, who knows? I mean, some of these companies, they're changing their contacts and for so often, and I feel like sometimes, I mean, SaneSmart especially, they'll email me about something. I'll be working on another one of their projects where I've got maybe a support ticket with them, and then they're like, hey, do you want to play with this machine? And then they'll throw something else out. I sometimes feel like tails wagging the dog in some of these companies. So
yeah, but yeah, it was so I don't know what exactly they were wanting, but yeah, I decided I wasn't going.
Well, I've done that in the past. Years ago when Stepcraft US was getting started, I helped them out in their booth at a trade show as well, and it's kind of fun, just basically talking with people, telling them, it's kind of like an in-person live stream. You're just taking questions and answering them and showing stuff. So, but Mike's asking what software to use to run the A1 and P1S prints. So there's the slicer software, an app that you use to actually send jobs to the printer, and so that's the Bambu Handy app. I forget what they call their desktop version, but that's where you will import a 3D model and do set up the job, tell it the what filament and what profiles, and maybe make any changes, things like that. As far as designing for it, that's where you're going to need some sort of 3D modeling software. So that could be Fusion 360. It can be SketchUp, or there are some free ones like Tinkercad Online is one that a lot of people use for just basic stuff and to get started. From there, there's a lot of others that, as long as it can create 3D objects and export those in formats like STLs and such, then you can import those into that software. Bambu Studio for desktop. There you go. Yep.
Yeah. Verl, the little small stuff like that, literally pennies if I were guessing, because a roll of filament, like I printed the whole mounting system for the AMS, both parts. It's like all together I think it's like 15 hours worth of printing, and I only used like half a roll of black and half a roll of white, and that's some massive parts. Some of the stuff that I printed with my Ender 3, like I would use like a one roll of filament and it would last me forever with these little small parts. Assuming you don't have a lot of redos, because redos will get you if you're not careful. But I would say pennies for these little small adapters and stuff like that as far as the material cost.
Yeah.
Electricity wise, I know people think, oh, they burn a lot of electricity. Not really. I mean, they are literally running off power supplies that would power the average like laptop computer. So you're looking at basically just as if you were running a laptop computer, because you have that little small controller in there, and then everything else is just steppers and heat elements, and so it's not really a lot to it. So it's a lot easier to print those little parts. The benefit to me for a 3D printer is, especially us that do lasers and we do like creating robots and making machines and doing stuff like that, you can't always just jump in the car and run down to the local hardware store and pick up the thing that you need. And even if you do, if you're like me, it's a 20-minute ride to get there, 20-minute ride to come back. And even if it's just like some kind of little fitting for an exhaust pipe or something, by the time I buy the gas to go to the store to get that item and then bring it back home, the time that I spent, I could have 3D printed it and had it exactly the same color and everything else that I wanted, instead of having to settle for the gray or whatever conduit color that they would have. So it has its advantages. Being able to build like little brackets that mount like all my camera stuff, my microphones and everything. I've got like custom little brackets. You can't really take the place of that. I can do a lot of that with lasers, but a lot of it is just, it looks cleaner and it works better with 3D printing. So it fills a gap, especially in the shop, if you're putting a lot of stuff together and making things.
I've
I've just been using the Bambu Lab software. I haven't used anything. Well, for design, I use Fusion, but I haven't designed anything since I got the Bambu. I've just been printing stuff I found on the internet.
So AGT Restorer is asking about the woodworking convention, and is it open to the public? It is. Let me see here if I can share that there. It's 12th of October at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. So it's coming up quickly. They do have a lot of crafters and suppliers and people. Like last year I was there showing. I haven't committed this year to actually set up and demonstrate. I have to see if I'm going to be available, and I might not be available all day. So I might go, but I might not, set up a booth like I did last year. But yeah, it is open to the public. I believe it's actually free. They're asking the vendors and whatnot to pitch in a little bit this year to cover the costs. But yeah, it's a pretty good show. It's been growing a lot the past few years. You get a lot of woodworking manufacturers and retailers and other things there as well. So if you're in the area, Twin Cities area, or going to be traveling to the Twin Cities area mid-October, maybe put it on your calendar.
Cool. Brent, no, I had the Ender 3 version 2 Neo, but I upgraded the I upgraded the bed springs, the knobs, the extruder, and I added the fusion pad to it. So yeah, that's what I was running before. But it could not hang with the A1 out of the box. I mean, it's just unreal.
So yeah, I actually ordered some TPU filament, and that's the kind of the flexible, almost rubbery type stuff. So I'm looking forward to playing around with that as well.
Tim, I haven't used ABS with the A1. The P1S, I guess it is where they recommend starting with ABS. That and the X1. I did mention to them that I was wanting to try to use ABS for printing things for automotive use, like for the inside of your car or for boats or fishing and stuff like that, where it needs to be able to be out in the weather and out in the sun. And so there may be a change of machinery before too long, but we'll see how that goes. But they recommended, if I was going to do ABS, to use the enclosed machine, because it just does a better job of maintaining that consistent temperature. Because if your temperature isn't consistent, you're going to have layers that aren't going to adhere to the layer above or below it correctly, and it's just going to be weak. So I'm holding off on printing anything out of ABS until I get a different machine. And they don't recommend you enclose the A1 or the A1 Mini, because it's just it's still not going to perform as well as the enclosed machines that they sell. So I'm just holding off on the ABS. I find that most of the stuff around the shop PLA and PETG works fine for it, and it's just easy to work with. Well, Brad, they say not to put it in an enclosure, so I'm not gonna do what they tell you not to. Yeah, the filament's not that expensive, especially if you just get the generic PLAs. You're looking at what, $17, $18 for a spool, and that'll last you a while. So. Dave, local businesses, like I'm telling you right now, and I got a guy messaged me today. He had emailed me a while back and was wanting to come and talk to one of the neighboring mobile home places here, actually right across the street from the one that I do business with. And he was asking me, he's like, "Hey, is it going to bother you if I go try to get these people to work with me?" And I was like, "No, not a bit, because I've got more than I can handle as it is." Well, he emailed me today and said that 5 out of the 9 places he visited, he's got customers now. So he's doing the same thing for these different little trailer places. And one of them literally is right across the street from the one that I work with all the time. So businesses, like especially small businesses that want to deal with somebody local to where you can kind of help support their business and social and spread the word for them, and they do the same for you. That's a really good place to get started. Local businesses here in town, May, some of the other channels, bars, places like restaurants and stuff like that. I mean, they're always needing something cool, even if it's nothing but, you go in and donate them a little sign for their Wi-Fi, where they can scan the QR code for their Wi-Fi, donate it to them or something to hang on the wall. Just the freebies will come back to help you out. Just make sure that whatever you donate, that you either have a stamp or you burn your logo somewhere on it so they know where they got it from when they go to look at it. Greg must have walked away a while ago. No, Greg, I'm not going to Georgia this week. I will be over there in, was it January, February for Workbench Con. I actually bit the bullet and bought my ticket this morning. Yeah, before they shut down the early bird. So, but now until I retire completely in 13 months, Steve, I'm not going to be able to do a lot of that stuff. But once I retire, hopefully I'll be able to do more of it, because I won't have this pesky day job to work around the schedule. In 13 months, Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, it is legit. I finally broke down, sent them that last check, so I owe them nothing. Because I had to buy back, years of service that I cashed in years and years ago when I was young and did not understand how that stuff worked. And what, that little bit of money that I received 20 years ago, when you start to pay that back, it's a heck of a lot more money. So I finally got that last check sent to them and got that done. Got my paperwork, and I can officially now retire October the 1st of 2025. Because you have to go out on the 1st of the month. Like, that has to be your last day. Yep. So if I don't go out October the 1st, it'll have to be like November the 1st, December the 1st, January the 1st. But yeah, I am good to go October the 1st of 2025. They've already sent me my numbers. The numbers look doable. So short of something really serious, I'm going to be I'm going to be retired.
Well, I was offered a mid-career seminar for my retirement plan. that was depressing.
Mid career?
Yeah, mid-career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that just makes you just.
Yeah, they want to hold on to me for like another 20 years, I think.
Oh, no, they've got me for about 13 more months. I'm gonna be full-time Clack Shack and fishing.
Fishing. Well,
man, I had a blast out there Friday. I found me a new favorite spot down here below one of the dams. Went up in there, caught a bunch of shad, and we was sitting there as fast as that hook hit the water, boy. They was just boom, 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 boom. I broke every old rod and reel I had because I have learned that after 20 years, when you set the hook on some of those things, the gears inside them break. You
A
don't
little
realize, you don't think about it, but the gears and stuff inside those are mostly like was it
nylon and
polypropylene and
yeah,
nylon and stuff, and you
yeah,
don't think about it, but
gets brittle.
they've been hanging in here for 20 something years not being used, and I set the hook, and when I did, it's just like sound like a train wreck. I'm
Yeah,
like, that's no good.
yeah,
So I've got to go shopping this week and find me a couple of decent rods that I'm not gonna break. So yeah.
yeah. I hear you. My primary poles and reels are. I don't even want to guess how old and what condition they are in. Probably snap
Yeah.
it just hooking a bluegill or something.
Well, I had one on there. He had to. I mean, did put brand new 20-pound string on there, uh, and I set the hook on him. And when I did, he pulled back, and it was like whoop whoop, and you could hear the vibration in the line, and then it just snapped. And I'm like, mm. But I wound up getting enough that we're gonna have fish for supper one night, in just a few hours. So that was good.
Yeah,
Some nice fillets.
very cool.
Now, Mark, I'm just gonna buy some new reels. Or the reels the rods seem to be fine. The reels is what's just falling apart. Gears are sticking and drag won't work right. You can't adjust the drag. I mean, they're just all mess up. So, oh yeah, Dennis, I forgot how much I loved fishing because what happened is years ago, guys, I got to where I was working like 3 jobs, and my boat literally sat right over there and like never got used because I was always working. And then when I wasn't working, I didn't really have the money to spend to buy ice and gas and bait and all that. And so it just sat there. And so finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get it out of here. And so I sold the boat. And it's been several years since I had one. So I'm really glad to get back into it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I told my wife
Cool.
when I retire, I've got to come up with a schedule to where at least one day a week, it's gonna be like some sort of fishing.
Well, see that. Well, I suppose fishing is a little more forgiving. That was the problem with my model airplane hobby is that I could try to plan a day to go flying, but it was so weather dependent. You know,
Yeah,
uh, rain and wind were definitely kind of putting dampers on that activity. So it was kind of more like, hey, you know what? This evening looks nice. I'm gonna hop out for a couple hours, kind of thing. And
yeah.
you know,
Well, Jimmy said he's been doing it for 12 years and he loves it. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping that
well,
I can do
that's
that as well. Cause I'll be,
yeah.
I'll be 50, I'll be 50 years old. So as long as I can hang in there for a while, I should be good.
Well, and that's the thing too is I've personally known some people, and I see so many people that they hang on just trying to eke out a little bit more in their retirement, and then they work till they're 70 or you know sometimes even only 65, 66, and they get a couple of years and all of a sudden they've got health problems, and some of them pass away, and it's just kind of it's kind of sad. So I don't want to be that you know
Yeah.
so A, trying to stay healthy, B, try to make decisions to allow you to retire, or at least take so many people think retirement is like, okay, I'm done working. I mean, you're going to retire and you'll have benefits, but you're still going to work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I'll be
So,
working harder than I do working probably,
but but
because
you'll be able to
I'll
do
be out here,
something. Yeah,
you know.
but it's being able to retire into something you enjoy, or something that you're in full control of and such.
Oh yeah.
That's the goal for me. So while the state here wants me to work till I'm like 66, I'm hoping that I can end my employment with them earlier, and still financially support everything. So
Yeah. Dan, I've got a buddy of mine that owns a bait and tackle shop here in town, uh, Clanton Outdoors, and he said, and I got another one, the Fishing Hole There's two local businesses that's what they do is sell that kind of thing. And so I'm just gonna go visit with them and see what I can come up with that suits my needs. The stuff that I've got, seriously, I don't know when I bought those. They're at least 25 years old, probably, and it would not be worth me trying to get them rebuilt. It would be better. The technology and the construction of reels has gotten so much better since then that I would rather have new ones. What 3D design software? That would depend, Mark. Tinkercad seems to be a really good one that's not expensive and allows you to do lots of things. I started out playing around with Fusion 360. I'm not great with it, but I've gotten comfortable with it, so I just haven't changed. But I know Steve, I've watched Steve design some stuff in there when he was down here and everything, and it seems to be a very versatile program that doesn't break the bank, because Fusion will set you back quite drastically.
So, so I've done, and actually what I was using down there was SketchUp. And, that goes back to the days when Google actually started it before they sold it off. It used to be free, the desktop version. They have their online version, which is free. But it is a little bit different. So I got used to the desktop version years ago, and it's one of those old habits that are hard to break. I wouldn't necessarily recommend people start out in SketchUp unless you have some reason to need to, because things are just a little bit different on there. I have played around more with Tinkercad, and the thing that I like about it is the web-based version is simple to use. It's free. It's fairly intuitive, and so it kind of gets your feet wet. From there, I mean, Fusion 360, there are some free maker versions of it that have some limitations to it. But that is probably one of the more popular ones that people use. But there are other things such as Rhino and now I'm going to draw a blank. I mean, SolidWorks is another more popular commercial one that you may or may not have access to. But Onshape is another good free one as well. So there, definitely take a look at some of the free options out there before you jump into needing to learn something that might have a basic free version, but their paid version was what you really want. As hobbyists and small businesses just getting into it, I'd hate to get tied into something unless you really know you need it and can afford to recoup the cost of it. But it's definitely something different because you are working in multiple dimensions, and when you start adding compound curves to it, it changes the design of it. But I even like designing in SketchUp for my laser cut files because I can build up the pieces and double check the fitting and such.
You forgot to tell me that I didn't turn my middle lights off.
Okay.
I just realized it.
But yeah, Mark, the perpetual licenses are nice. They're getting harder to find. I mean, most software developers have learned that the subscription model keeps them in business a little bit longer and helps them to develop, which is unfortunate because it does cost money. There's definitely open source ones, but then you're kind of at the mercy of the community and enhancing it and volunteers. So you never know when support for that might go weird. But it's there are a lot of options. I would just look at some of the free ones first, but they all do things slightly different, and so you get too far down a rabbit hole with one, you kind of learn some habits, and they can be hard to break when you try to jump around.
Yeah, Dennis, I am definitely looking into that. I was going to try to print at least some like accessories, like maybe a sinker. I mean, not a sinker, but a float, a couple of things like that, a couple of rod holders. But yeah, I will definitely be incorporating the 3D printer into that. I just got me a fish finder for the boat too, and I need a cover for it because I'm being cheap. I didn't order one, so I'm thinking about 3D printing me one. But the more I look at it, I'm like, you know what? It's only $19.
Well, and something like that, you definitely want to be looking at like ABS
Yeah,
or ASA and not PLA because it would fit nice for a little bit.
yeah, yeah. First couple of trips out where the sun got a hold to it, it'd start getting some slack in it.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be one of those things that, yeah, maybe a lure that doesn't attract dolphins. Yeah, I know it.
Well, if you
I
wouldn't,
thought it, I thought it was a shark to start with, because all I saw was the fin come out of the water the first time, and then I didn't realize he was stealing my fish.
you mean your bait.
What is a fish? I mean, they were like that big. They were like that big.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
fisherman's tale if I ever heard one.
yeah, they were. But that's so good. He was wearing them out, bro. Wearing them out. Hey, I gotta. Where's my?
I almost
My
caught
video at?
I almost caught a big muskie up here years ago that way. I was reeling in a small perch or whatever, and just as I got it towards the surface near me, this huge muskie just took a swipe at it.
Look at that.
That's
Yeah, I'm up.
that's a nice rod, and
Well,
it
that's
reeling
actually
in.
that's actually the only one that I didn't break. That's literally a little Zebco 33 that I bought for my youngest daughter, and I've got like a 8 pound catfish up there below the turbines, trying to get him out from over in that where you see all that white capping at. I'm trying to drag him from over there, and it's just staying in the drag. Like I can't hardly get him out,
Yeah.
and I thought I was gonna break it because I had broke all mine. So I'm like, well, let me try to use this one that I bought for Emily, and yeah, I managed to get him to the boat, but it wasn't pretty. Hang on, there we go. Here we go. Look at this. So I knew better to try to pick him up with that 10 pound test line. So I drug him over there where I could get him with the dip net. Look at that. Oh, good old catfish right there. That's a good filleting size there. But yeah, I wound up catching like 3 or 4 of them. So that was good. And then I broke every reel and rod I had, every string. Like I had them breaking braided line, like brand new braided line. Like they'd hit it, don't. So we're gonna retool. We're gonna retool all that. Oh, did you see my project? I made this on the 40. Woo-hoo.
Cute.
Yeah, it's like a little parts tray. The guy that designed it kind of messed up a little bit and got a little close right here, and so it kind of kissed it a little bit as it went around. But it's because it was sitting in there like this in V-carve, and I couldn't tell it. So when I printed it, it was just a little bit close on the bottom to the point to where that tapered bit like rubbed it. Like it's because it's a knife blade, so it's got like a little indentation right there. But yeah, I did that, and then I made this for the little stock parts. Nice piece of magnolia. So yeah, I've been playing with a CNC. But I'm always needing stuff like this when I'm putting machines together and put screws in. So just built an extra one. I was going to put Ventari's Workshop in there, but after all the stickers I got stuck everywhere, I didn't see a need.
Well, the problem with my logo is all the little stitch marks take forever. So while they look cool on the printed logo, carving out each one of those little stitch marks, it greatly extends the time of the job. But
I don't know. I would imagine you could turn off the autofocus on the L2, but I never did it, so I couldn't tell you.
well, I mean, you set up a macro in Lightburn to actually do the autofocus. So you can home it without autofocusing, and then just use the knob and the. I believe that one came with the little focus bar, that little uh, extruded piece of
Yeah, I
aluminum or
think
something
you
like
could
that.
probably go into the controller, just start go into the settings and just turn off the Z-axis completely,
Yeah,
so
you
it
could probably
wouldn't
do that, but
output. It wouldn't
I
be
mean,
outputting to the Z.
if you don't set up the macro, or you don't click on the macro, the autofocus, unless you're doing something off the touch panel, um, the autofocus I don't think should activate until you click that. So yeah, I ran into that problem with my 8s or L2s, that they were very finicky on the autofocus. So um, the other thing to do, and I need to drag one of those out again to test. I found this on the Atom Stack A70, is with the honeycomb too close to the laser head, that autofocus would mess up more often than it would register. So you may want to see if you're if the module's not moving enough, it'll error out. So see if you can maybe lift up the laser off of whatever your work board, honeycomb work surface is. Make sure it's traveling far enough, and it might take away some of your autofocus issues on that one.
Elaine, when you say the Ultra, are you talking about the F1 Ultra? I haven't had any problems or heard of anybody have any problems with it unless it's a calibration issue. I did have to calibrate the Z autofocus and everything on mine, but you had to use a little scratch cards it comes with and set the red and blue dots, and there's a little bit of a process, but once you get it done, it worked pretty well for me. So. S Free says he got a question about air assist. Has the X Tool D1 Pro. Air pump is about to die. Using air compressor a better way, or should I just stick with an air pump? It depends. Shop air is I mean, that's what I use on my enclosures. But there are considerations and things that you need to do before just throwing air to it. One is you need to make sure you have dry air and have plenty of filtration to make sure you don't get any moisture in there. What'd you go get, Steve? I know you got something.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
But yeah, I like shop air, but because it doesn't take a whole lot of air pressure, but you need to have the right setup and have the right filtration and stuff in there, as well as have the appropriate air compressor. If you got one that's too small, it's going to run continuously and could wear it out prematurely, because a lot of those air compressors aren't designed to do that. But if you've got one that's adequate size and you're only running one machine with it, with the right setup, it's not going to be an issue. So.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy an air compressor just for it. It's if you've got one and want to set up, the filtration and such, it does allow you a little more flexibility. You can turn up the pressure, turn it down a bit. But if you just want to replace an air pump, don't feel you have to buy the X Tool branded one. There are others like this one that are a direct match for it, and I think this one goes for like maybe $50 or $60 compared to the 80 or 100 that X Tool wants for theirs. And this even comes with a spare cone for the D1, and I think it came with a couple different size cones and such. So I never I played around with shop air on my D1 and such, but I felt that the air pumps were generally okay, and I could just plug that into a switched power strip for me. So it's not required, but if you have the shop air and you want to do it, play around, but just make sure you like Clack said, put a good moisture trap system on it.
I don't remember which machine it was, but I had one the other day gave me an issue on the autofocus, but it was because the material was shiny, like really reflective. So I don't know if it was the Monport or if it was the F1. think it was the bond port because it uses like a laser to do it. But I would just make sure you have all of your calibrations done on the red and blue especially, and make sure when you hit autofocus, make sure if it says that your thickness is 0, make sure the dots are touching. If they're not, then you can take and adjust. I did a video on how to adjust those. It's actually not that hard, and make sure that those are touching. Because mine, I found out that mine were not. When I would hit autofocus, it was actually not. My two little dots were not lined up like they were supposed to be. So I had to go in and make that adjustment to it. But I haven't had a problem with errors. You may want to make sure too that you've got the most up-to-date firmware, because I know they've been plugging some firmwares on that machine pretty regular. I think I've then had to update mine like twice. Went to do those tumblers today, and they done pushed out another update for XCS. But because I was trying to get that job finished, I pushed back on the update until after I got the job done. Not sure what this is talking about.
I think that might be the framing on the control panel for a Ruida device. I'd have to go back and look at mine, but is that like a feature, a sales feature, or is like an option you're looking at?
Ow.
Okay there?
Yeah, I put my foot on my chair and it tried to shoot out from under me. Let's see. Yeah, Craig, I had some issues with my Z-axis on that machine as well. So I haven't used it in a long time. Mine actually got gone from here because I had a fella that had messed his up and needed some parts. And so since mine wasn't working, we worked up a deal. So I don't have the machine to help you with on that one.
I want to say I do feel there's either a macro or there's a set of commands that you can use to disable the Z-axis homing on there. I will, because I remember I was talking with a guy about it. I'll try to find it here while we continue on. But
You heard of any issues lasering drywall mud? I've never done it, so I haven't really heard anything about it one way or the other. I don't know about you, Steve. What do you think? Seems like that would create some really fine dust.
yeah, I'm trying to envision the case use for this. So maybe got a little more information about that.
Unless you're like using it in like maybe casting it in some type of thing or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Got me. Unless you're making like little mud bricks. Who knows? All right. Well, questions, concerns. Dennis says he caught him some bluegills over there. Everybody won't talk about fishing. I will be doing my fishing videos over on my other channel as soon as I get a chance to really do anything with it. So far, it's just kind of sitting there, not doing a whole lot. Clang said he's using it for texturing. Seems to hold on tile very well. I don't know. That's not, like I said, that's just not something I mess with. So, Mike's asking, how about milling cast iron skillets or brands into burger presses? Can it be done with a fork? You cannot mill cast iron with it. If you wanted to do like a brand for that, if you could make it out of brass or copper, then yes. I mean, I would imagine probably brass would be the best material for that. But you can do the like the soldering iron brand stuff with a CNC using a metal cutting bit like a zero flute, or depending on whether you're engraving it, some of the other bits as well. Matter of fact, somewhere. Well, I have them somewhere. I don't know where I have them. Oh, here they are. These are made for the lasers, but I actually have these little things for the laser. These are brass, and these are made to do like the old seals that they used to do for envelopes or whatever, like a little seal stamp. But you could do something like that with a CNC as well if you had a copper or aluminum. I'd probably do it if I was just doing it to like burn a steak, put a brand on a steak or something. I'd probably just use aluminum. You can get it hot enough to scorch a steak without melting it. It's a lot easier to mill.
All right. Going back to Craig's question on the macros, I think you can set up a new macro for just a XY home, and it's basically create a new macro, and on two different rows you want to have $HX, and then next row $HY. That was what was suggested to me in one. And then you don't want to use the the home button on your laser. You just want to click that new macro, and then that would just tell it to home those two and skip the Z. So I'll see if I can drop that in chat without breaking anything. But give that a shot. Just like I say, you want them to have them on separate lines. $HX return $HY. Give that a shot. See if that will resolve the issue with your Z-axis failing because of that wiring issue.
Maybe you'll get lucky.
Yeah, I knew I'd heard that before, and it was something I was going to play around with as well. It was actually on the IKEA machines, because those are basically practically identical to the 8s or L2s. So,
yeah, I don't have the L2 anymore to play around with, so I'm kind of out of the loop on that now.
Yeah, mine's still hanging around.
Well, I sent mine off.
Well, it's just one of those things when you're having some troubles with it like that, and I hate to pawn off a problem machine on someone else. So
yeah.
But
right.
Now that I found that, I can get caught up.
Map and laser engraving community page. This is a good time to do that. Middle of the live. While everybody's being quiet.
So, down below in the description of videos on both our channels, there's links to the laser engraving community map, as well as a form where you can fill out to drop your business name or username, city, state, or whatever, anything that Google Maps can recognize. If you want to drop your pin on there, go ahead, and then you can browse the map. It doesn't automatic update. I have to refresh it manually, but it is kind of fun to see where people are from and who might be near you. And, if we're ever traveling somewhere and there's a cluster of pins, we might try to throw up a bit of a meetup and such. So definitely check those out. There's also that's kind of informed out of these live streams, as well as our Facebook group, which should also be linked down there, Laser Engraving Community, where you can hang out with people that are watching this as well as others, and then we try to drop in there and answer questions, share ideas, and such there as well. So definitely check out all those links for more fun with this group, and kind of our both of our channels and communities tied together.
Man, folks is picking on me about my audio tonight, and it is as loud as it's always. So I don't know.
I don't know. It's coming through okay for me, and I mean, if you look at the sound levels for both of us in the software,
Yeah. Let me make sure I don't got a filter turned on.
yeah, yours might be a little bit lower than mine. It looks like mine is peaking higher, but I
Let's
mean,
see if I got a filters. No, I have no filters turned on. So I can turn it up, but it's probably going to be too loud. I think it's just because my voice is not as loud as normal. Because my batteries is low. Yeah, see, now it's showing it's redlining over here.
is that on your end or in the restream stuff?
It's showing it on my end. It's showing it's a little loud.
See, in the restream software, you're only hitting like 2 bars. So
Did you do something to my audio? Let me go look.
I've been down there
See what
forever.
you did. Show advanced options. Audio. Stream. Oh, it's wavelength stream like it's supposed to be. Let me play with it, I reckon.
Everybody just wants me to talk softer.
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I can get it up right here like that.
ASMR at the Clock Shack.
But nah, I don't think there's anything I can do about it right now. I'm not gonna fool with it. I probably need to reboot my machine anyway. But no, it doesn't. I can turn auto gain control on, see if that helps with restream. Who knows?
Technology. Can't live with it.
As they say, they updated about everything that I use over here has updated while I've been gone. I haven't restarted my computer, so we'll see. We'll just leave it. We'll leave it like it normally is, because it's showing all my little gadgets here. It's showing that it's like it should be. It's probably I'm just not very enthusiastic tonight because I'm tired.
Yeah, it happens.
Long week.
Yep.
But I got a lot of invoices done today. So, well, my voice is kind of messed up too. I come back from the beach with some kind of sinus, something or another. I don't know if it's from the salt water or what, breathing that dust down there, that sand. But my sinuses hadn't been right since I got back home. So I'm going to give it a few more days. Hopefully it'll get better. If it don't, I'm going to go get my doctor to put one of those nice shots in my rear end to fix it.
Okay.
They do. They give that magic needle. Like one shot of it, bam, you're good. But yeah.
Well, I hope you at least got caught up on all the order stuff. And
I don't know if I'd say caught up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 7 cutting boards done today, or this past couple of days. 7 cutting boards. I got 4 stove covers done. So I'm caught up on cutting boards. But on stove covers, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 more to do. So, yeah. But the good news is a lot of those, like probably the 6 of them is just this past week's orders. So as long as I can get like 4 more done, there shouldn't be any danger of them needing the ones that are ordered. It's usually about a month and a half to 2 months turnaround before they start like needing them. So So
Mhm.
hopefully I'll have them done by the time they need them. But I did 4 this weekend. So it's a lot, guys. I mean, it is a lot. But I can't complain because I mean that's the stuff that keeps the lights turned on and keeps my bills paid here. Is my stuff that I do, you know, with customers. That and those tumblers that we just did. Because at $15 a piece engraving, that was a decent little job we turned out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And Bill
yeah.
only tore up one of them. I, I was trying to train him. I had trained him on every step of the process. The only step of the process that he hadn't been allowed to do was to chuck them in, right? So I started letting him chuck them in. And we had one, it was engraving, and all of a sudden it just said, doop. So the engraved looked good, and then it was like elongated. Like,
Yeah.
oh, but yeah.
Yep.
No, Dennis,
Well,
I do not ship anything. I deliver them. The place that buys them from me is like 6 miles from here. I load
well,
my
I
truck down with them.
I reminded myself why you go and buy pre-glued boards for your stove covers,
Oh yeah.
because yesterday evening I was busy gluing up things like this. This is about 5 different Western red cedar boards that I had to glue up. You
Very
kind of
time
see the difference
consuming,
there.
isn't it?
It is, and then flattening and sanding and whatnot. So prepping that, and I've got another one on mahogany, and then I have an additional sign that is going to go on live edge cedar slab
Mm.
that a friend is going to be hanging at their Airbnb. So I'm gonna have to crank out at possibly both Atom Stack machines, the 70 and the 40, to get those done here this week. And because he's coming into town for he's a friend of mine from my model airplane club, and but he moved out to Idaho a year and a half ago. So he asked me if while he was in town if I could get a couple things done for him. So definitely going to be
Yeah.
doing that. And I don't know. This is our big model airplane warbird event, and I mean we get well over 100 pilots bringing in all sorts of quarter scale, giant scale warbirds and such in, and it's a fun event. It's busy. I'm not sure. I may drag a laser over to it and create some little pilot dog tag kind of things for people. So we'll see. It's going to be in the Owatonna, Minnesota area here this weekend.
Cool.
So I got to get stuff done before that so I can go kind of play for at least a day and a half. Won't be in this shop. But so I got to get kind of caught up and ahead on some orders like that. And like we mentioned, I've got this 4040 CNC. I'm going to get some stuff out on. And speaking of X Tool, I kind of teased that M1 Ultra craft machine last week. So trying to come up with a few projects, play around with that, see what it's all about. So definitely plenty of things going on here.
Yeah. Too old to do this, said being very new, he learned a very valuable lesson that there's a lot more options available on a computer than on an iPad. I'm guessing probably on like XCS or some of the other softwares. But yeah, typically you're going to get a lot more functionality out of a computer. Oh, have you seen that really cool X Tool commercial that they've come out with, where this guy's making a tag for a truck? It's on YouTube. Pay attention, you'll see it.
Is this like one of the ads that plays on YouTube?
Yeah, it's my video.
Oh, I'll never see it then.
It's my video. People started messaging me going, "Hey, did you see this really cool video where this guy's making a tag? It's actually a X Tool commercial." And I was like, "I haven't seen it," and then it hit me, and I was like, "Oh, they remixed me." But it's an actual X Tool commercial, but it's my short like condensed down into like 8 or 10 seconds.
No, I use a lot of the so I've got the Google Drive. I pay for extra storage on there, and that's where I do a lot of backup of files and such, cloud-based, and then it synchronizes to my computer. So with that, I get a pretty good deal on YouTube Premium. So I haven't seen a YouTube ad in ages. It's very nice.
Yeah. Well, I like to see what commercials, what videos are getting. Like, I'll even log into YouTube, like, not as myself, just to see,
Mhm.
just for marketing reasons. Clang wants to know why you use Western red, not Eastern red cedar. Is it because you're Western?
Um, I don't know. Are we Western? I mean, we're Midwest, or we're the great, what do they
I'm
call it?
just,
The
I
Great
mean,
White North.
it's technically, I think that's technically juniper that you're using there, but
I,
I have people give me that. That's not cedar, that's juniper. I get that a lot too.
I mean, it's I have to see because I'm pretty sure. Where is this? I think. Oh, you know what? This isn't that stuff that I bought. I don't know. This came from local hardwood dealer, so I'm not specifically sure where they got it. But because my other stuff I've gotten from my friend, he they milled it from Minnesota here. Um, so we have white cedar here and red cedar. But yes, it's also called juniper.
Brian said he thought you were in southern Canada, Steve.
So I saw, you know, and, on you get random things in your Facebook feed and such, and sometimes there's these weird maps that's every state's popular this, that, or the other thing. And so one came up. It was like which states each state likes, and if you look at like North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, possibly even Nebraska, they're all pointing at Minnesota, and Minnesota says we like Canada. So yes, I guess Southern Canada. Although Minnesota is technically older than Canada, so
Yeah.
they're just northern Minnesota.
Well, you were talking about X Tool a while ago. You know, being that you're like, I don't know what, like junior apprentice CEO or whatever over there now. They had sent me an email. They're wanting me to do a tumbler collab where they send me tumblers and I do a bulk for them, and then they ship them out to people. But they're wanting me to build a design using my creativity and their logo, like work their logo into my design somehow. And I thought to
Okay.
myself, that could be kind of scary letting a redneck design that for them. But I sent them back an email, just try to inquire about exactly what they plan, what they had in mind, and so we're gonna wait and see. Because if they're wanting to send me 500 tumblers, we're probably not going to do that.
Yeah, no,
You know,
that's
5 or 10, we might could talk, but they just said a batch, like for their 4th anniversary celebration, apparently. But they want to do a video where I engrave tumblers in bulk and give them away to viewers, but they'll pay for the shipping. And I'm thinking, this sounds like me doing a whole lot of work,
yeah, it does.
and I don't know what's in it for me yet. You know what I mean? Because when I do tumblers, I send out an invoice. But we'll see. I'm waiting on them to get back with me on that and see. As long as they don't ask me to take the little thing that May get me over, I'll be all right. Because May she'll be mad at me if I take that machine. Oh, da, 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 da.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. You got to stay in business.
Clang says Western is more for construction and Eastern is more for decorative.
Yeah, I know. I know the Minnesota stuff is Eastern cedar, but this is not. I don't think this is sourced in Minnesota, so it's a form of a decorative. Um, Yeah, these.
It
Back
looks
here,
like it came from Alabama. I'm just saying. You sure you didn't take some back with you when you left down here?
these I know are from Minnesota, and so this is an eastern cedar.
Yeah.
So, whereas, this stuff is more of the construction. This is a picket,
Yeah.
which is inexpensive CNC fodder.
Well, that kind of stuff's pretty inexpensive around here anyway, because you saw where I get mine from up there. Matter of fact, that little tray that I made out of that oak, that was a piece of that oak, man, you milled.
Mm.
Brian, no, they actually didn't. They did not mention anything about money. So that's kind of what got me. It was like they wanted me to do the work. They were going to pay for shipping, but I got to box them and ship them. So I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds like a lot of work on my part. So I got to figure out exactly what they want. It was one of those generic, hey, are you interested in this kind of emails? So we'll see how that goes.
You say I'm the golden child.
They're wanting me to do free work. They sent you like a Swiss Army knife of crafting tools.
Well, that kind of sounds like work to me too.
True.
'Cause I'll be honest. I've played around with vinyl. I kind of co-own a 24-inch vinyl cutter with a friend, and I've done it on the CNC. But this has it's the crafting world, and I'm kind of going, okay, I got to wrap my head around what projects you would do with that, because it's not what I do out here. And yeah, it's a little more work to figure this one out.
Yeah. Well, that would be my thing. Is I don't use any of those machines, so it would be I would have to learn how to use it to even be able to. So I'm kind of glad they didn't mention it to me,
Yeah.
because I'd been a mess.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, Brian. I mean, sometimes, like I said, sometimes they have some pretty good ideas. Oh, but I will tell you this: these companies are bad to come up with these things that they think are great marketing things for them, but they fail to realize that it's not a whole lot of benefit to the people that's doing it sometimes. And like I said, I don't have any negative things towards X Tool. They've always been decent to me, and I've had good support with their machines and everything. It's just a lot of times they come up with ideas, and it's like it sounds good in their head until they verbalize it, and then it's like, wait a minute. Which I do the same thing. I tell my wife all the time I have this great idea, and when I tell her what it is, she's like, that doesn't sound like such a great idea to me. So it happens to all of us. What's up, Greg? You can watch the replay, man. It is getting kind of late. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm tired. Been a long week. Somebody's asking you about your air pump. There you
go. It's louder than others, but it has maybe a little bit of a growl to it. But I don't know that it's like a fan noise to me. Matter of fact, let's see if I have the stuff. I can find the power adapter. I can plug it in and test her out. I mean, you got to pick between 12 volts and 24 volts.
I was going to say, the black 12-volt one went with the A70, didn't it?
Yep.
The gray 24-volt one goes with the X40, I think. That's a massive power supply for that machine, I will say that.
Whew. All right. Oh, shoot. That's supposed to plug into the laser.
Yeah, you got to have that little adapter cable if you don't. You got to have that adapter cable if you don't have it. Can you use 3M to adhere acrylic? By 3M, if you're talking about the little adhesive tape, yes, depending on what you're adhering it to and how big of a gap you're okay with, because the 3M adhesive strips does leave a gap underneath it because it takes up space, of course. Yep, y'all done got him run down a rabbit hole now over there. He's looking for that cable. It ain't gonna take me long to go to sleep tonight, guys. Not long at all. Steve?
Yes.
You get lost?
Yes.
Hey, you got your is that a planer on that rolling cart right there behind you, over your
Yep.
shoulder? I bet that thing's heavy.
Oh, that's a cart that's meant for like a miter saw station.
Yeah, I've got one that I put out front that I don't use anymore because I built this table over here. I just noticed that you had a planer stuck to yours.
All right. Well, here's the 12-volt version. Sorry. I haven't run this in a while. Yeah, that does sound like a slightly imbalanced fan, I guess. Whereas the I think the 24-volt version on the 40 is a little bit smoother. As a matter of fact, got the one off my. Let's see here. This is the one off the A24.
You got a 24-volt power supply?
See, this basically the same model, but it doesn't sound as imbalanced.
I think some of them have the two pumps and two motors, and then some have the one.
Yeah.
And I think the twos have less of that mismatch in the sound, and that's what makes them sound a little louder.
I don't know. I might be dissecting this one and check it out because that's definitely it's the same model, but definitely sounds a little bit rougher.
Well, you've seen the video where Klein tore his up. We had to tear it apart. Which now it was one of the older ones. It wasn't that newer design, but he's went through a couple of air assist pumps.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I guess going back to the other conversation, that's one of the nice things about if you've got you'll get one of these quiet, quiet air compressors, and if you, especially like you run it outside, and then run your air in, you lose that noise.
Yeah, you really can't hear my air compressor when it cuts on. If you're sitting right here, you can barely hear a little rumble through the wall. But the downside to that is when you have those real extreme temperature swings, you can see extra moisture in the air, so you have to watch for that. But I've got dual water separators inside the building as well as the one that's on the outside. So since I've set that up, I haven't had a problem with it. But you do have to watch it from time to time.
Yep. But yeah, that last one that sounded better. That's the one that's off my portable A24, and that was not that loud. I was able to run it in that kind of screen tent, and I walked before the other people showed up. I kind of turned it on, turned the exhaust fan on, turned the air pump on, and then kind of walked over to the other sites, and I was like, you really can't hear that too much. But it's just so weird when you're out there. You feel like every twig, every gravel crunch, it just carries.
Yeah, especially if you're anywhere near water, it's gonna really carry.
Yeah. But luckily there I was pretty well secluded on the backside of that. But
Oh, all right. What's up, Matt? Hello, sir. Glad to be here. Another day. Steve, did I mention that I'll be retiring in 13 months?
what? That's complete news to me.
I know you love hearing it. I'm gonna try to plan me a trip. Come see you first week. First week I get out.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's top of Brandy's list for you're retired.
Well,
Running.
she's gonna keep working though. See.
Uh huh.
Yep.
Yeah. So she's just gonna let you galvan off up to Minnesota. Although in October, I mean, okay, here's the
I
thing.
actually say
In
that
October,
she likes snowy Christmases.
well, we've had snowy Halloweens, so I'm just saying,
Okay.
you come up in October, you don't know what kind of weather you're going to get up here.
I might have to work on that. But my problem would be if I got up there and got stuck.
Well, why would you get stuck?
Because it'd be like a blizzard. You couldn't go nowhere. Down here, if you get like 3 inches of snow, you're stuck for like a week. You can't go nowhere.
Yeah, well, we get 3 inches of snow. They say, all right, well, try not to be late to work.
I guess.
Look out for the idiot Southerners on the roads.
Yeah, I've never seen 3 inches of snow down here. I think the most I've seen was like 1 inch.
No,
It's usually gone by daylight.
I mean, if it's not a freakishly cold early winter, October is a nice time to be up here. So
Yeah.
usually most of the bugs are dead. Leaves might still be falling, depends. But yeah, you never know. It can be cold. We've had snow.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. See, there's the question right there. Probably not. I got to get some bills paid off first. So, a couple of years ago, or about a year and a half ago, I went and bought me another truck because my other one was falling apart and was getting horrible gas mileage. So I got to work on getting that thing paid for before I can do anything. But I do plan on shortly after I retire, start to stick some money back and get some dirt work done. Maybe get a slab poured. A little as we go, and hopefully have me a new shop within the first year or two after I retire. That's my hopes and my dreams. We'll see if it comes true or not. But if I do get to do that, then this is going to become like where my boat parks, and then of course this side over here will be Brandy a little usable area or storage or whatever she decides to do with it. So we'll see.
That's good. I was going to say it was supposed to be the Brandy shack.
Well, yeah, but now I got to have somewhere to store the boat, so I don't have to build a bigger shop up on the hill.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Unless she gives me a bigger boat that won't fit in here. I mean, there's that. That could happen.
Yeah, there's some people who I've seen people pull. They have like a sailboat or whatever, and it's got like their whole. It's like a camper down below. They've got the living quarters, the bathroom, the bedroom, and all that stuff.
Well, first of all, me and a sailboat don't get along.
So, but I mean, I've seen people like actually pull them places and use them as a camper.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah. Yeah. Brady was asking me if I was going to have a retirement party when I retire. I told her I thought about doing, karaoke live from the shack. Because I actually do have a karaoke set up.
I kind of have one, but I've pretty much permanently loaned it to my club for the events.
Well, it's actually just a PA system
Right.
for events and stuff.
Yeah,
it has
that's
a little Bluetooth thing. But it's got the tower speakers that sit on the little stands and all that. So we could have that. You can come down here. You can come down here for it. Like karaoke, you could sing some of that 1980s whatever it is you listen to.
Yeah. Viral, that's pretty good. Yeah, the small F1 doesn't draw a whole lot of power, and depending on your laptop, um, those as well. And I touched on that a little bit in my camping video. When I plug my laptop into it, that thing has like a 200-watt power supply, and so it was hitting it hard, whereas the laser itself was maybe using about 120 watts. But that was the air pump, the exhaust fan, the laser itself. If you're just running the F1 standalone, yeah, I would imagine you're easily below 50 watts. And then if you've got a decent laptop that maybe only runs on, like 50, 65 watts, that's an awesome setup to make those things last a long time. So
Yeah. Yeah, Robbie said the same thing. If get a half inch of snow, they shut the world down. That's the way it is down here. You'll not find any milk or bread at the gas stations or stores or anything. I don't know why it is, but milk and bread, bad weather, it's going to be sold out.
see, that just boggles me because maybe the bread, but I mean, if you got snow issues, you're likely going to have power issues, and so go out and buy something that's going to spoil. Up here,
Well, I
it's
mean,
just
I guess
cold.
if it's snowing outside, maybe the theory is you can just set your milk outside.
Well, yeah, sure, up here because it's like an ice box, uh, but down there, I can't imagine it stays that cold. So,
No, I mean, it gets, it'll get down in the 30s and 20s in the winter. So, I mean,
uh,
yeah, it's pretty darn cold.
yeah, those are the days where you go, oh, it's nice and warm.
No, it's actually pretty cold when it's down that because like just like today. I mean, it's been 90 something degrees, and it'll be that way up until we'll be wearing shorts and tank tops at Christmas here. So I
Yeah,
mean,
so do we up here.
if we get any snow at all, it's usually around March, like end of February, 1st of March. That's our coldest time, and then it's like April's there and back in the 90s.
See,
So
but that's I mean that's the thing you'll see, especially the teenage kids walking to school, they'll literally be in shorts and a hoodie, and I'm running the defroster on my windshield, and they're just like, nope, I'm going to walk to school like this. I'm like,
no,
okay.
when I say we'll be wearing shorts and t-shirts, I mean you'll be sweating, like sitting on the porch, waiting on Christmas presents to be opened or something. Like it'll be, it's traditionally like in the 60s and 70s at Christmas. Yeah, what Sam said. Well, it's you're in Alabama when you have a pool parties at Christmas. I mean, like it's crazy.
Hey, we have those too. It's just called cut, polar plunge. You just cut a square out of the lake, and you hop in.
Yeah. See, that's why you can have pools down here, and you don't even have to drain them during the winter. You just cover them up because they're not going to freeze. If it does get cold enough for it to freeze, it'll get like maybe like a quarter-inch thick layer of ice across top of it. That's it. So, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. Well, if you come up here in October and you get stuck in the snow, that's your own fault.
Well, you never know. Never
Just
know.
remember, four-wheel drive just means you get stuck further in.
Well, I got a 4-wheel drive automatic with snow mode. I think I'll be good. Me and the old F-150 will get there.
Okay, so the truck will drive itself deep into the bank.
No, you just gotta. Hey, you keep a couple of bags. You keep a couple of bags of play sand in the back, right up against the tailgate, and put that thing in 4 auto, and you're good to go.
Meanwhile, my two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive minivan will not be in the ditch. So
I'd say it's hard to beat old F-150 in the snow. I passed many of them. Used to go to. We went to what was it, Little Rock, Arkansas. It was like -30. Like everything was iced. Like it wasn't any snow. It was ice. And then like the last couple of blizzards that hit Atlanta, I went over there and worked
Perimeter
those.
alert, driveway.
I went over there and worked those. Now I did have to take about 6 bags of play sand when I went to Georgia because it was like getting hot enough during the day for it to start melting a little bit, and it'd get slick as crap. And then when it got dark, it would freeze back up solid. Huh. Oh, that's my kid. I forgot she had to go back to work for a little while.
Well, up here they just you find an unplowed parking lot, or you go out on a lake and you learn how to drive in the snow. That's the joke, back when there was OnStar was a big thing, and you could push the button and to get directions and help if you were lost.
Yeah.
And so you go out in the middle of the lake and you push OnStar and you go, "Hi, yeah, I'm lost. Can you give me directions?" And they bring up your GPS location and go, "Sir, are you okay?"
Yeah. See, Mark knows. He's had to go. He's had to whoop through the Lowe's and grab about 6 bags of play sand, throw against tailgate. And the reason you use play sand too is if you ever do get in that situation to where the ice is so slick that you're having trouble climbing it, you can take that sand and put in front of the tires, get you a little grip, get on up there.
Use cat litter.
Nah, use sand. Sand's heavier. You just have to
Not if you want grip. Not if you want grip.
But you'd have to load the whole tail. You have to use your cargo area to haul all that cat litter because it only weighs like 10 pounds a bag.
I'm not the one having to put sand in my truck just to be able to drive around in a little bit of snow.
Hey, we're gonna take him to a dirt road down here. We're gonna either go between here and Georgia somewhere. We're gonna find some red clay and we're gonna put that minivan to the test.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that plywood wouldn't have gotten wet if we were driving my minivan.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's what we need to do. We need to have when you come down here, we need to take the minivan and the F-150. We'll tie them to bumpers together and do like a tug of war.
What?
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about like just sheer destruction of vehicles. We're talking about usefulness and utility, man.
Yeah, but we'll see which one can drag who.
It's so impractical. Now you want to argue with me about how I can't pull your trailer? Sure, you got me there, but
oh me. Oh, burn car print. I got Bigfoot saying it's better than cat litter. Well, he's just see what it is cat litter. I agree, probably for the traction part would probably work better because it has more surface area, but it doesn't weigh as much and it's more expensive. You can get play sand for like $2 a bag. Now you don't want to use Quickcrete or nothing. Play sand though, it works great, and you stack it against the tailgate. It adds that extra weight that you need as well. Because in most trucks, that's the Achilles tendon is there's no weight on the back wheels, so you have to kind of add your own weight back there.
Yeah, Mark, I live in Minnesota River Valley, and Main Street Hill, I'm pretty sure is over 7% grade. It is ridiculous that that's a hill, but it's not quite mountains. But to and from work, I've got a bit of a hill to go up and down every day, so it's not your typical prairie flatness. So
Robbie said he saw your van on Mythbusters. Oh, the Sasquatch mobile. Oh me. Oh.
Yeah, New Ulm is just up the river from us. Yep, up here you see. It doesn't matter what you're driving up here. People, I mean, 4-wheel drive can be a help in certain situations, but people just either they get stuck or they get more stuck if they're not, being smart about it. So I don't know that I'd go to the extreme of moving back to Tucson because, well, I'd die of heat stroke down there. But but Yeah, it's not quite uphill both ways, uphill and downhill. And in snow, I think I'd rather be going. Well, it depends. Some days I'd rather be going uphill in the snow than downhill. Sometimes you start one way and you end up the other without meaning to.
Well, I have no desire to ever have to drive in 3 inches of snow.
3 inches
So,
of snow is nothing.
well, it is here. So we're just going to go based on what I know. And if we get 3 inches of snow here, like the National Guard's going to be out up and down the
See,
interstates.
see the thing you also got to remember is there are stretches of winter where, like no joke, it's not getting above zero, and so the stuff snows, it gets packed on the road, and you don't see pavement for a while. So you've got snow on top of packed ice. That's the crap we're driving on around here at times. So, and then they try to melt it with some sort of crazy salt chemical mixture that your vehicle, forget about it going 200,000 miles, you won't have a frame left by the time you get through that many winters.
Yeah. Well,
So,
how does the minivan fare in hurricanes?
I avoid them, so I don't need to worry about it.
Because see, that's a regular thing up here. I mean, hurricanes and tornadoes. I mean, you gotta be ready for that. So,
Yeah, well, that's why
well, now, Mark, I will say this: my new truck, now my old truck, with the way that it was set up, like pulling a trailer or whatever, you get going too fast and you go down a hill and the trailer would push you and all that. This new one I got is just awesome because if you put it in tow mode, it's got like a jake brake and it's also all-wheel drive. So like if you go down a real steep hill, it will use the tires and the resistance of the engine to slow you down, so you don't have to touch the brake. Like you let off the gas, you go over the hill. It acts like an 18-wheeler with the jake brake. You can even hear a little bit of that, brrr, like the jake brake sound in the truck as it goes over the hills, which is pretty cool because you don't have to ride the brakes as much when you're going, like especially going down toward the river, where the hills are just straight up and straight down. It's a lot simpler, and you spend a lot less time having to ride the brake pedal. So I haven't used the one I've got now in the snow. The last time it snowed, my wife actually had a little Chevrolet Trailblazer, and she was passing dudes in Z71s that couldn't make it up the hill because that Trailblazer had all the weight over the back tires, and it had just enough power that it wouldn't spin out, but not enough to where it would break loose real easy. And but the last snowstorm we had, we drove. When we did leave, we drove my F-150 that I had, the older one, but it had 33s on it, like all-terrain 33s on it, and all that good stuff. It had a lift kit and all that, so it was a little more than just your regular pickup truck. And it had a camper on the back, or a topper on the back, which made it heavier in the rear end, so it actually did do a lot better in the wet and snow than just a regular truck would. Because those toppers, whether you believe it or not, those toppers actually weigh about 600-700 pounds. They're not light, especially the big fiberglass Lear ones with the glass windows.
oh, they're that heavy.
Pretty darn heavy.
I mean, I bought one for my truck used, and it wasn't that hard to
We took
lift
one
in.
off the truck the other day. It took 3 people to get it off because it's got the. By the time you put the insulation in there, the glass, the little side boxes, the metal side boxes that go on the edges and stuff.
Well, that's more than just the topper.
Well, it's the one that's like on my work truck. It's got little compartments. You open it up. It's got little compartments in there where you can put
All right.
things. But yeah, it was. I guarantee you, it's 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And then your luggage rack. By the time you put the luggage rack and all that on there, they're heavy because I had to put helper springs on my old truck because it actually made it squat. Well, that and the floor jack and the impact wrenches and all that.
Yep.
But my new truck doesn't have one on it, so a lot
All right.
lighter.
Well,
2 hours, 5 minutes.
we're over time and talking too much about the weather. So I think it's time to wrap it up.
See there, Wi-Fi said he stacked 600 pounds of sand tubes over rear axles in his 350. Keeps him safe in the Colorado winter.
See, that's
See?
that's just the general problem with trucks and snow. Unless you have weight in there, that thing is just crazy light. And there's no traction.
But some of us have to have trucks, Steve. We can't
No,
all have
you
like
want to have a
an
truck.
awesome minivan.
Everybody, and that's the thing is, there's a lot of people who have trucks that don't need trucks. They just want to have a truck.
No,
And there's a lot of people who want to have 4-wheel drive trucks. They don't need 4-wheel drive trucks.
I mean, unless you can put 9,000 pounds behind the minivan, I gotta have a truck.
How often are you pulling 9,000 pounds?
When I retire, it's gonna be quite regular.
All right. Well, the average person is not. I mean, average truck driver up here is going to get groceries. So
Anytime I move my tractor, I have to have it. Which I don't move it a lot.
see,
I do have another piece of property that I go bush hog usually a couple times a year. But now when I retire, I do plan on getting me a camper, and of course I pull my boat pretty regular, which it's not that heavy. I could actually pull it with. I could probably pull it with a minivan. It would look a little weird. I could probably do it because I'm pretty sure it probably doesn't weigh but like 1,000 pounds probably.
Oh, you could easily pull it with that. I mean, it's not breaking any records, but I can pull like 3,500 pounds. So
yeah. And then I have my big box trailer I use at events. Now I could pull it with something smaller, but I don't know that I would want to.
Right.
Because it's a pretty big trailer. It's dual axle, 16-foot box trailer. So I mean, yeah, I could pull it with something smaller. I just don't know that it would be safe on the interstate, especially with it swerving.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, all I'm saying is the average person. I mean, I've had a Suburban, I've had trucks and whatnot. The thing for me is all of the things I do, from hauling my family on vacation to hauling lumber to hauling model airplanes and going on camping trips and whatnot. This is the most utility day in and day out for me.
Yeah.
Whereas a truck would honestly be very limiting in a lot of those. Very handy for the occasional time I might need it, but very limiting in my day-to-day life. So,
yeah. Well, just like the other day when I was taking those fish guts off to get rid of them, I was glad I had a pickup truck.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to put them in the back seat.
That's why you have a cooler.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't want to put the cooler in the back seat. I had them in a bucket.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a truck guy through and through. I can't help it. It's just I gotta have it. Now, I'm not one of these guys. Like I see a bunch of guys in town that drive F250s and F350s with lift kits and big 44s and all this on it, and I've never seen them pull anything or tow anything. Or I mean, there are some people that are excessive, but with me, I would have a very hard time with anything less than an F150, because even though it's not often, there's pretty regular times that I've got to have that towing ability. And as I get close to retirement, the more often it will be.
Yeah. So.
Anyways. Hey, Cody. Cody in the house. What up, Cody? Been using some of your bits. I'm making my wish list of bits that I want you to make, though. I'm not going to tell Steve because he'll be trying to get them before I can get them.
There's only one that I haven't that I'm aware of the retail ones that are available that I don't have, and I don't even know that I need it anymore. So, but yeah,
well,
yeah. Tomorrow I got to
be.
be.
I think I'm only missing one out of the set.
So tomorrow I'm going to be. I'll be running the little one over here, the 4040, and I got some work to do on the Onefinity as well. So
what?
It'll be
gonna bring the Onefinity out of retirement?
It's not been in retirement. It just acts as a shelf a little too often. But yeah. So unfortunately, it's might still be a little humid tomorrow because they're expecting some rain to come through. Because I was hoping to be able to open up the doors. We're supposed to have a nice cool down and drop the humidity, and that's a good time to open up the doors and do some work. But I may be sweating it out again tomorrow, but hopefully after that it'll cool off again. So yeah, I know, Brian, mini split, but just there's too much other stuff I've got to coordinate and organize for that to happen. And
Well, I'm thinking about getting me a snowblower for this winter, just in case.
I'm thinking about getting rid of mine.
No. Oh, I am seriously considering getting another air conditioner for in here during the winter, during the summertime. Though I told Brandy, I was like, it works great up until like this past couple of weeks. Man, it has just struggled. Now, it's still better than being outside. Don't get me wrong, but but like this time of year, this mini split, I probably should have stepped it up and went another ton in size because it's just not quite enough with that big door I got across the front. I mean, my cats have started sleeping over here on my little table where all my saws are because it's right in front of the air conditioner. So, but anyway, you knowingly don't have one of the bits, for shame. No, I just haven't got around to buying it. Every time I go to get it, it's out of stock. You'd think
That
if I knew the guy that run the place, maybe I could get it. But every time I
the
go to the website, it says out of stock.
it's the 30-degree B carve bit, isn't it?
Let me look. I got because I got my little. See, I got my sheet right here. Oh, where I got all of them marked. Did I have? Well, actually, I'm missing two more.
What?
Yeah, I am. I'm missing a couple
Slacker.
more of them. Yeah, look right here. I'll show you. Let's see. Where's it at? Top screen. Yeah. See, I'm missing the 1/4 inch groovy 30-degree, and the. Wait a minute. I got an Uptown GD, don't I? Hang on, let me go check that. How come that way showing I got?
Fred, on the Monport Onyx, it looks interesting if you're following our buddy Eric over at Valley Forged. He's gotten one recently, and he actually upgraded it with the Rita controller. The one thing I kind of wish he would have like just showed it a little bit without that first to kind of compare and contrast. But I mean, depending on how difficult that upgrade is, it's probably something I would do as well because that was my original CO2 laser has that, and it is kind of nice to be able to control it from there. My only thing with it is it's a little bit smaller than the working area of the P2. So it's if you're not needing that extra working area, that it's probably okay, and it's definitely priced a little bit nicer than the P2. But yeah, I would love to get. I wouldn't turn one down, but I don't necessarily need one myself right now, and I'm not sure I have the space to like keep it up and running long term. So it would be kind of fun to at least get one to play with for a little while, and you know, be able to share some thoughts on it. But that's my, I think, my biggest concern when you're looking at those desktop CO2 units is that Onyx is a little bit smaller than some of the others for working area. I think it's only 18-inch wide by 12-ish deep, as opposed to the 20 or the 24 of these others.
Yeah. Well, I got to the bottom of the issue. I do not have the 1/4 inch Genie, the Uptown, or the 1/4 inch extended reach. The reason I thought I did is because I have the O flutes in the holes where those would go in my little thing. Because when I built this, there was no O Genie or the other bits. So yeah, so I'm missing 3 from the set. So I've got to make another order. But that one's been out of stock for like a year. Like you'd think if I had some pull around there, I could get one of them, but I can't.
Well, maybe we need to get our name on the list next time he gets a run of those done. So
Yeah. It's not something that I miss a lot. I mean, because like I said, I've got bits that will do that, and I've got the ones, you know, the 60 and was it the 60 and the 90. So it's not like it's anything major that I'm missing from that one. But I've got to rebuild my bit holder now. I'm gonna build it bigger, and I'm just gonna leave some space where I can always go back and add holes.
Yeah, you always add more bits. So
All right, guys. Well, like I said, we ran over. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And if you're interested in some bits, Cody is still in here. Go check him out, and maybe you can get one of those elusive 30-degree V bits uh, that I haven't gotten yet. But no, I've been playing around with the new Sane Smart. I haven't chucked in any 1/4 inch bits yet. Uh, I ain't got no need for no 3/8 or no 1/2 inch bits, Cody. That's just that'd be like me driving around in a F450. I ain't got a need for it.
well, just wait till you upgrade your spindle, then you will.
I mean, yeah, but I don't really see me upgrading my spindle anytime soon. I've thought about it, but
I know
I
you
don't.
mentioned it in the past, but
I
yeah,
thought about it.
you would need that to start driving those.
Yeah, they've got I think a 2200 watt uh, water cooled that these guys make. Was it PW?
Hmm.
Whatever. I've looked at it, but I just don't know. I don't know. We'll see. But
Cool
anyway,
stuff.
right now I'm playing with the little bitty CNC that's sitting over there. I will tell you too, the Shopsmith works great with that machine as well, as long as you put the boot on there.
So,
Which I'm using a Shapeco boot on it, by the way. If you need a boot for yours, go to Shapeco's website. It works great.
no, I had picked this one up for the 6050, but it doesn't fit properly on the. I mean, it'll fit on the trim router that I have there, but the way the collet and the thing is on there, it sticks down too far. So
Doesn't that does that one screw to the? I thought that one screwed to the spindle.
this does, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But on that Bauer trim router, the collet and everything sticks down too far. That by the time you get this on the bottom of the router base that it'll fit on, the bit's still hanging down like a good 3/4 of an inch. So it's almost pointless at that point. So with this one,
Yeah.
I can get it down far enough on here that it just kind of kisses the surface. So I should be able to get this to work. Doesn't come with the CNC. I just had bought it for that other one, didn't return it. So
Yeah. Well, the one that I'm using is the one that came with it came with my CNC, but I haven't used it because I bought the upgraded one. But this is the one that I got on there right now, and it bolts on here like this. Like it's adjustable. Got that little slide right there that like clamps it. It works pretty well. So that's what I've got on it at the moment, and it's working pretty well. Bill's planning on getting the machine once I get to where I'm through with it. But I'm not too sure he's going to get my Shapeco dust boot, so he may have to invest in a dust boot because that one works with the trim routers really, really well. And if I ever do get another machine in that takes a trim router, then I'll be needing that dust boot again. But anyway, guys, great time. Good time to see everybody, and glad y'all made it. Come hang out with us tonight, and hopefully we will be back next Sunday and have a little more conversation. I know I'll be playing around with the 3D printers a little more this week, as well as doing some stuff with the CNC, and of course working on some jobs, trying to get those out. So we'll see how things go, and if y'all have any questions or ideas for content, by all means send them to us because we're always looking for content reasons or ideas. Here lately it's been kind of busy though. I mean, I haven't really got to hand pick anything lately.
yeah,
So
yeah, I'm rolling into busy season at work. We got about 3 weeks before the semester starts, so that kind of we ramp up through the summer. I mean, things get busy, but then it kind of drops off for us where
yeah,
semester's in session and I can kind of chill a bit. So the next month will be busy there, but also here, got some machines to work on. But yeah, projects. I want to get some more 3D printing, design stuff out. I've got some other projects with the lasers and the CNCs.
yeah.
So hopefully I get enough time out here to pull that all together, keep those coming, and yeah, we'll. But yes, if people have questions or ideas or things, definitely send them our way through content or comments on videos, or through our Facebook pages, or falls fails email and such. But always, it's great when we can tailor stuff to things people want to learn and see about. So
Yeah. Jimmy was asking about what would be a good spindle upgrade for the X-Carve 1000 by 1000. I think isn't that a belt driven machine? That's the older X-Carve.
mm-hmm.
So I would think. I mean, I liked my DeWalt router that I had, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I liked the variation of the speeds a little better with the Makita routers and stuff. But I mean, as far as a spindle, what would you think? I would imagine it would only need to be
I
about
mean,
something like what comes with the Shapeco from the factory.
if you're looking for kind of a plug and play system, then Pone CNC, PWN CNC, they've got one for the Inventables that should be kind of a drop in. The problem is if you don't go with that, then you kind of are on your own to figure out, with the DeWalt 611, that's a 69 millimeter router, because DeWalt has to be different than almost everyone else. So you would have to change out your mounting either way. And then you can get your own air-cooled spindle. Then you got to get a VFD controller and you can wire it up yourself. But if you're not comfortable doing wiring and some machine programming of that, it's kind of nice to pick up a plug-and-play system like this. You're going to pay a little bit more for it, but otherwise you can just get kind of standalone. Like Genmitsu SaneSmart has this kind of standalone. It's still kind of a trim router style, but it has an ER11 collet. It goes slower. It would mimic a spindle a little bit better.
It has a little short pigtail plug too, which I thought was pretty handy.
The short pigtail plug?
Yeah, it's where you plug, unless yours is different. It should be about 6-inch little pigtail, and the plug goes together right there.
Oh, that's what oh, God. Yeah, I got you. See what you're saying. Yeah. Yep.
That way, if you need to take the router off, you don't have to undo all your cable management and everything.
Yep. Yeah. So if you've run that cable through cable chain and such, that's kind of nice. So that's also an option without going to a true VFD driven spindle, a brushless spindle. It's still got brushes you got to replace, but the dial on here will let you run it slower than your typical trim router, and it's got the ER11 collet, which will allow you. It's better, and this sits shorter than your typical the end mill part. So it's a nice kind of medium ground between trim router and true spindle.
And I haven't really noticed any problems with run out on that one either. Like I said, doing some of the stuff I was doing today, I set a depth cut on that one job, and it didn't even mark my spoil board. Like the thickness of the double painter's tape was all the variable that I needed, and I had just enough of an onion skin to where when I hit it with a sander, it opened it right up. So
yeah. Nice.
So that was I was really happy to see that, because I was afraid that router, how sometimes the spindle will run out a little bit when it spins up, and so you'll wind up with variations in the depth. But I didn't see it with this one so far.
Cool.
But so far so good. And Angry Garage Mechanic is asking about my sensors. I have a bunch of different stuff. I use Yolink sensors, which work off of kind of like a low output Wi-Fi network type setup. Those are most of my perimeter sensors, and they have like a little hub that connects back to the main network. But then I have those set up to trigger stuff on my Amazon, my Echoes and stuff around the house. So it's a whole other can of worms. And then of course I have cameras and all that, but it's kind of some of my stuff that I picked up doing IoT type stuff when I was going to school for networking and all that. I've got Internet of Things everywhere around this house, sensors and cameras and all that cool stuff. So, but anyway, there's lots of them on the market. We need to go. It's 2 hours and 24 minutes. I'm about to fall asleep sitting here. Well, y'all have a good one, guys. We're going to get out of here before y'all get us talking again. Went down another rabbit hole. So
sounds good.